things look a little different now because we have a friend on the podcast.
I really have reached my like ultimate nerddom.
With just in general.
Yeah, I'm on a D&D podcast, you guys.
It's our D&D podcast. Calm down. This is our friend Laura. Laura plays D&D with us, and has an extensive history of writing interesting backstories and angsty gnomes. Her first character, she was in our last campaign, which we've talked about a little bit, and she played the most angsty gnome you've ever met in your life.
Yeah,
so angsty.
And guys, today we're talking about what I would generally consider to be the most angsty class of a character you could play in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. We're going to talk about rogues.
Barbarians. Oh.
Just kidding. We've all played a rogue. Laura's character that we've been hyping up was a rogue. My character in the same campaign was also a rogue. At least the second character we talked about.
Rogues are the best.
Yes.
Gilgary was a rogue.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. I told Josiah a little bit. I don't know if you knew this, Laura, but Gilgary's technically only a level 13. But I buffed him to a 20 for your campaign because I figured it would be later in life. But if I were ever to like play him again at something, like some prestigious game where they let us bring someone, I would only bring a 13. Because I don't know what happened in the between time.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Rogues are cool.
A lot can happen to level a character up.
True.
I think it'd be cool to do like not even anytime soon, I guess, but like in the future to do like a one shot with just any character we've played in a campaign. Like you can just pick any. So like let's say we have like 2 or 3 campaigns under our belts. It'd be cool to go back and you can be like, okay, we're gonna do a one shot and you choose just any of your campaign characters and you just like throw them in and see what happens.
Josiah, I will say though that you have more to choose from.
I have
It's true. More. Everyone else has one character. You have 6.
I have one additional campaign character. I just make a lot of random ones for like one shots.
Yeah, that's true. I have played a few one shot characters. But like I never played another character before I played Flavia, who was
Flavia. Yeah, that's true. It was your first campaign too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have someone in my chat said shout out to the gnomes. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the gnomes are fun to play.
I had how many characters have I played? I played a pirate. No, that was for a one shot. No, that's not true. I made a pirate. Captain Hex was for a one shot, but I made another one that was like this angsty dude. That was like a ranger or something. I think. Or he was like he might have been a gunslinger. I don't know. No, it was a campaign that Evan tried to run, but we only played like one session. And I was going to make it like, he was going to be like really cool. I don't know if he was a rogue. He might have been a swashbuckler, which is a rogue. But he was going to have like, I wanted him to basically end up being what Captain Hex was in our campaign, which obviously everyone who does know who Captain Hex was, he was like this ghost pirate guy that I made, that I played in a one shot and then made him like a mini boss guy. But I wanted him to like have this like tactic where he would like interrogate. He had like a expertise in intimidation, and I wanted him to like interrogate people by like sitting them down. And then I think he was either like rolling dice in a cup or something, would like tell him if he'd just like kill him or not. And it was like he didn't really care, and he'd be like, all right, like up to chance for like every question that you get wrong, or that you answer without satisfying my needs, then I'll roll dice and see if you die or something like that. I had like this really cool plan. Cool. And then like his face was going to be all ghosty and mirage like and whatnot. But anyways.
That reminds me of Flavia, because I had that whole coin flip thing.
Oh yeah, you did that at one point.
Basically becoming Well, yeah, basically she would like become the wailing daughter or whatever and like
Yeah.
flip a coin.
Yeah,
Just
Flavia
leave it up to fate.
Flavia had a crazy backstory. Flavia was crazy experience through the campaign. She was like, what were you first? You were just like a normal rogue? Did you even have
Yeah. So what happened is
a
like
subclass?
I think rogues are a great class to play if you don't know how to play D&D
I agree.
because they're simple but they're also really fun. So you're going to get it and there's also so many ways you can use it.
Yeah.
Depending on whether you want to be like charisma based, strength based,
Right.
what subclass you want to do, like you can do so many things with it and it doesn't get boring, but it's
Yeah.
also like easy to understand. So like I immediately chose rogue because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what all these dice are for. I'm not even gonna try and play a spellcaster. And I like didn't have a backstory or anything. And I was like, what's like a stupid character? I was like a little Russian gnome.
Well, it's funny because I think like most of the group thought that too, for the most
Yeah.
part. Like no one thought it would actually turn into the campaign that it did. Other than
Yeah.
me in the back of my head, I was like, please, like just make it through the first few and like catch them,
Yeah.
and then. But yeah,
She got a
everyone
cool
was like, I'm gonna make.
backstory.
Yeah, and then she got a cool backstory. Well, I also had you guys write backstories like a few weeks in, because I feel like backstories, especially for new players, and depending on how much uh experience they have with writing, like creative writing, as well as just playing D&D, like it can be a little overwhelming when you're like you need a backstory of like why you're doing what you're doing. But if you can just tell someone like, yeah, just make a character that you think is cool and then like or funny or whatever, and then I for what we did, a few weeks in, I asked you guys to write backstories like once you were a little bit more connected to your characters and whatnot, which I don't know if it made it easier, but maybe for some people it might have.
Yeah, I like that. I think if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons before and like you're just getting into it and it's your first game and everyone's new and maybe the DM's new too, so it's just like a whole new experience for everybody. I say, yeah, just like um I think it's easier to just make your character and worry about like the mechanics of like building a character and then playing it and then worrying about the backstory a little bit later for
I
your
totally
for
realized
your
that you
first
got
campaign.
your volume was turned down so far for a while, but that's okay. We're
Oh,
good
mine
now.
was?
Yeah, it's okay. We're good now.
Oof.
Well, actually, this is interesting because Josiah, I think, because we both played rogues, right? But something I noticed about you is that when you came to a character, you immediately, your first like thing was to figure out how the stats worked and like the machinations of the class
Mm.
and like all that stuff. And my initial instinct, because the first thing I was drawn to was like the RP, not like the like numbers part. I was
Right.
immediately like backstory.
Yeah.
Right.
What's my motivation,
Yeah.
actor,
Well, I think
so
in my specific case with the rogue that I played, and we've talked about this um already on this podcast, but just the fact that my character was like a one-shot character, so he didn't really have a backstory, and then I had to uh throw him into an already established campaign like immediately, so I didn't really have time to like prepare like any backstory for him really at first. I just had to start playing him.
yeah.
So uh yeah,
Yeah, I
it,
had
it
such a
was
cool
very
thing
much
written for
focused
your other
on
character
setting up.
too.
Oh yeah, you did.
I was
I
so
still really
excited for
remember
that,
that. Yeah.
and then it all got tossed out the window.
Yep.
But that
But
The
yeah,
happens.
old
you
deck
started though
amending.
with Bronk though.
Who
Yes.
was a
Yeah.
monk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And you
that
were
one was
so
that one
into
was
like,
a goofy
okay, he can use his
character.
bonus action to this and like
Right.
Yeah, when you
Well, I mean,
started
that was
playing,
like
you were
I
very
didn't really
much like,
know how to use I didn't really know how to play the game at that point. Really, I
right.
chose the monk because I was like, I think it'd be fun to play like this like priest guy. And then I figured out after I picked it that it was like a kung fu monk. And then I was like, oh, okay. So then I'll make him like a really like dumb sounding character. I'll just call him Bronk and he'll be like all like slow, like Kevin from The Office type. Like I was just being like trying to be goofy with it.
Yeah, I think we were all trying to be goofy when
Yeah.
we started.
yeah.
I mean,
My first character I ever made was a rogue that was just like me. I just like kind of made me, and then I was very much the same. Like I just constantly. I remember like our first or second session. I think it was the second one. I like was just walking around town and we went to like a blacksmith and I rolled like a natural 20 insight check or something, and my DM, who was also new, it was his second time ever DMing, or second session, he was like, yeah, I mean, you see he's like kind of like looks tired and like bummed, I guess. And I was like, for some reason, I was like, I don't know, 18. I was like, I need to sneak into this guy's house and steal everything in it for some reason. And so like I took like probably 30 minutes of the session just sneaking around this guy's house with like nothing in it. Like the DM was just like, I mean, you find like, I don't know, like bark. But
Isn't
like
that though, like the impulse of playing a rogue is just to steal and sneak?
Yeah. Well, actually, and it's funny, we actually recorded an episode on rogues before this one, but I accidentally put out the wrong episode. So we're just re-recording this one. But one thing I did talk about is if you can plan to play a rogue, don't be like me and just be like, I'm going to steal everything from everyone all the time. Unless you really want to. But like, to a degree, it can get really annoying for other players. Unless it really makes sense. Like, and maybe if the rest of your party is in agreement, but if you're just like, I feel like there was something up with that guy that was selling flowers on the corner. I need to find where he is. And then your DM ends up being like, there's flowers there. Then like, everyone's going to be like, God. So like, be careful.
Yeah. It's all about like making the fun choice that's also like has a good motivation and like helps boost the story with the other characters instead of just being chaotic just to be chaotic.
Yes. Yeah. And that's like, my first character.
I would pay attention to how you can be chaotic in that sense in a way that helps the party. And then that's when you can take a moment like that. But yeah, I wouldn't just like inherently do it because you think, oh, I'm a rogue, I have to address every situation by taking up 30 minutes of tonight's session to like sneak around and like
I need to sneak into
slit
that.
people's throats for no reason or whatever.
Well, because if you're playing like for a long time, like if you're playing a campaign that you want to continue, and it's like a story that you're all invested in, it's not just to like do a dungeon crawl every weekend or week. It's like to actually build character and like story. It's basically long form improv. It's basically long form improv, and there's like a rule in improv that you don't ever say no to someone else's idea. You always put an idea that has possibility that the other person can take. Yeah, but there's also like you don't want to just change it on someone. You want to take what they have and build on it. And so that's basically what you have to do at the table. You have to kind of be willing to like give and take for the things that people are coming up with.
Yeah.
Because it's just long forms like improv.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
But that being said, rogues are very fun when you do get to sneak around, especially when it helps the story.
Yes.
It's the best because it can add some stressful moments. And I'm actually very excited for this campaign. Alyssa's playing a rogue for the first time. But she has something, without spoiling anything for you guys, it's come up already, which is why I'm okay talking about it. She has an added mechanic called a stress check. You guys don't know necessarily what that means, but it could add for some very, very fun, stealthy moments of what happens if she gets caught and things like that. What will the stress check, if failed, do?
Is that
I'm so excited. I'm so stressed.
Is that borrowed from Mothership?
No, but no, it's not. I mean,
I was wondering too.
Like, because that sounds like.
Not really. No, it's not like she's stressed, and if she fails the check, then she starts like hyperventilating or dying. It's not like necessarily negative. Maybe it is. Yeah. It's. I'm very excited. I hope she fails a few times. Yeah, because that could be really cool. But yeah, rogues are really fun to sneak around. But you're right. There's a lot of different ways you can go with them too. Like, I mean, I was just right before we started recording talking about swashbucklers. Swashbucklers are literally about like being super charismatic and like running up to people and taunting them into like fighting you like one-on-one. Like I believe swashbucklers get like a thing where if you're within 5 feet of someone and you use some ability don't come at my throats if I'm wrong, listeners, but I think you like basically taunt them and they have to fight you or they get disadvantage, and then you get advantage on all attacks for taunting them, specifically at them or something along those lines.
Ooh,
But
that's interesting.
but in saying that, like, yeah, you can go the super sneaky, angsty approach, or you could literally go like Jack Sparrow, like in your face pirate Captain Hook approach.
Right.
Yeah. There's so
which
many
is
ways to play it.
Yeah, there's so many
Yeah.
ways, which is why I love them so much.
Yeah.
Or
That's
you
actually
could
how I started.
combine all of them. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that's how I started playing Thranduilmir in the last campaign. Well, especially like in the one shot that I built him for, like I did literally intend for him to kind of carry himself more or less exactly like Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
But then when I brought him into our actual campaign, I kind of adjusted him a bit to kind of be like he was still very high uh charisma wise, but it was more in like a um like I was kind of being like pseudo friendly to everybody, and then like only being like sneaky, stealing from them or whatnot, like if I felt it was necessary. But I wasn't doing that a whole lot. He was just kind of like a bubbly, happy guy a lot of the times, I feel like.
Yeah, he was like a
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Laura made the most angsty one and became a
Yeah.
I
phantom.
did. Yeah.
Which
Well, see, I didn't even know because it was a what's it called? Subclass? That's what it's
yeah,
called,
it's
right?
a subclass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that was a subclass. I was gonna do something completely different. I think I was gonna do like Arcane Trickster or something like that. And then because of the story, you like had me like face a choice, basically whether to kill a person or spare them. And I was like, that's so angsty. I'm gonna kill him.
Well, at
And
first you
you're
said
like, do you want to
no.
be a phantom?
You said no. You're like, there's no way. And then I was like, are you sure? And then you're like, okay. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
turned into like a whole plot thing that was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
I had
It
none
became
of
like
that
the basis of my
planned.
backstory.
Yeah, it really did. I had none of that planned other than like I was like, there's this enchanted like bog, like swamp.
Yeah.
Anna's in chat. Hi, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
There's
Hello.
there was like an enchanted bog thing, and I needed everyone to like trip balls, but like also have something realish happen to them. And I was like, what would be cool for a rogue? And then for some reason, I think that week I had bought Tasha's Cauldron, and I saw that there was like a phantom subclass. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to force Laura to take this, but like it's the coolest thing ever. So I just gave you the choice. And like I didn't really have much
Funny.
planned for after that. I was the skeleton that became this like chrome skeleton like flew into you or whatnot that offered it to you was really just going to be like some throwaway thing. But
Yeah.
you guys kept asking questions about it, and then I was like, well, this could be like really cool. And like I had it in the back of my mind the whole time of like they're eventually probably going to want to know what that is. So like
Yeah.
the what's the word? The eagerness to figure it out that you guys showed helped me to plan something for it. But it ended up being really cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things I think that makes you such a good DM too, is because you're good at being like, okay, this is a small thing, but obviously it made an impact. How can I adapt to use it? And
Right.
then it makes the story stronger. Like you do a good job of that.
Yeah,
so.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. 'Cause, I mean, I just see as a DM, like just leaving something at like nothing sucks. Like whatever it is. Like if it's a rogue sneaking into a house and you're like, yeah, you find nothing, and they're like, oh. Like the only times I'll really do that is like if it's really bogging down the rest of the game and like the group. But if like someone was going to be like, I'm going to sneak into this like guy's house and try and steal stuff, I'd probably put something in there just in the moment to maybe lead to something. But so like, yeah, I mean like any like dead end of the story kind of sucks. But then, yeah, like what you're saying is it does take a lot of adapting and figuring out what you guys are actually interested in, and just going with that. Same with Anna had like a a wish, and she wished for a gold dragon companion, and she got like this statue. And I had no plans for that dragon at all to be anything other than just like a cool gold dragon. But then she started asking like, "Where are you from?" and whatnot, and I was like, "Oh my god, maybe like I don't know, we're gonna figure it out." But I had like the week she asked about that. Fun fact: the week she asked about like where the dragon was from. That like week I had studied the glades of Arborea, and there were like 7 ancient gold dragons in Arborea, and I was like, oh my god, perfect. Like I'll just say it's one of those, or one of like its kids or something. But yeah, I mean that was part of the campaign, is just going with what you guys thought was interesting, because sometimes it was more interesting or just more than I had planned. And leaving things at a dead end is boring.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, but I mean, Flavio was cool. I played an assassin once, which was fun, and Gilgary is a thief. What were you, Josiah?
I was a thief, and then there was another one shot that I played an assassin for a little bit, but I didn't really get to like mess around with that much because that was the one that we just kind of died in a room quickly.
What does being an assassin do? I don't know anything about that subclass.
I believe if you are hidden, every time you have advantage, I think you crit.
Yeah, it's very much like geared
so like you could
towards
sneak it, you could
sniper.
like auto crit a sneak attack if you're hidden.
Yeah.
Okay, also I just have to say this, and you know what I'm gonna say, Joe.
This was the worst mistake I've ever made as a DM ever, because I totally forgot I got to do this. I swear to God, I looked it up. Okay, so I didn't give
for a whole freaking year. I played a rogue for a whole freaking year, and every time I crit, I wouldn't apply it to my sneak attack, because that's what Joe said to do.
Because I was an idiot and I was wrong. The class I love most, I didn't understand.
Wait, so when you crit, you're supposed to add full
but I
sneak
remember,
attack damage?
yes, and double that.
So like,
but I remember backing it up.
55 points of damage, and I should have been able to give like 110.
But I looked it up. I swear to God that it said that you don't double the sneak attack, because we looked it up at like the first few sessions, and I swear it said that. I could have sworn. I'm very sorry. I feel terrible.
No,
about
honestly though.
Wait, is that only when you crit? Is that when you crit on a sneak attack, or just every time you crit?
No, when you crit on a sneak attack, you get to double.
So when you crit
everything.
on a sneak attack, you double the sneak attack damage.
The sneak attack as well. Yeah, which is basically where the bulk of your damage comes from.
Yeah, like there was.
But I honestly don't mind it, like, because I feel like she might have been too cracked, honestly, because she already was very powerful.
Well, the fact that there were 2 rogues too that
you
were
both got
involved
sneak
in
attack.
a lot of fights at the same time. Yeah.
Oh well, it's my fault. Anyways, there's this YouTuber named XP Level 3 I watch a lot, because he's really good. He makes very educational videos, and he was talking about a mechanic that we use when we crit, and we double the dice, or no, sorry, we add the full amount of the dice, and then we roll on top of that, because it sucks if you crit and then you roll a 2 and it's just a 4, whereas you could do like 6 plus whatever your roll is. And so I thought that would be more fun. Now he said during the campaign we were doing that, I watched a video and he was talking about it, and he was like, yeah, we're doing it for my current campaign, but I wouldn't do it again because it's made some cracked characters. And I didn't understand like why that was so, or why that was, but now I totally understand it, because they had a rogue, in their party that one shot the big bad guy with a crit sneak attack doing that.
Geez.
Because it was like a level 19 or something, and you get to add all the sneak attack damage full and then roll on top of it.
How many d6 is that? Like 12?
Something like that. So it's like, how much damage is that?
That's at least like
72 damage. That's 72 damage plus your plus 12 d6 plus your weapon plus your proficiency.
Right.
And so like but like the whole time I was like, why is that like? Why was she able to one shot that thing? Because like I had even heard that like their rogue one shotted it, and I was
Right.
like, I don't get it because like it wouldn't make it that much better. But after the campaign, I found out that I'd made a huge mistake. Oh well, it is what it is. The story was still cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's good. Yeah, but rogues are fun. And you're playing a cleric this next time, this current
Yes.
time.
So spellcaster, which is really
Different.
it's like hard to learn, honestly, because for clerics you choose your spells every time you have a long rest, which is like not necessarily for every other spellcaster.
Right.
So I had like 3 spells I wanted to use in the last session, and I was just like stupid and didn't pick them.
I
I
did
picked like
log
something.
rush.
I was so mad at myself. I was like, okay, we're gonna be sneaking through the tunnels. I won't choose pass without a trace. Like why? Laura.
I'm another
So it's
side
those
note.
things.
You guys just like went through like these really long underground caves or whatnot. I was really happy that you found like a guide because there was like 27 rooms in that place or something, and like you guys could have still been in there. But like even like an hour and a half into you guys being down there, I was like, we need to get out of this place.
Yeah. I think everyone was feeling that way.
Yeah. But oh well, it is what it is.
But that was oh my gosh, the ending part when we thought what's her name was gonna turn to
Yeah, one of
stone.
our characters got hit by a basilisk and almost died.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It was
Very
very
close.
scary.
Came down to a roll, which would have been very sad if she had turned to stone. Oh well. That was cool though. Anyways, cool. Is there anything else we want to hit on, Josiah, in terms of rogues?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else important that we covered last time, aside from our actual characters. We talked a little bit about. I know we talked a little bit about like mechanics in terms of like when you're building one. I don't know if we wanted to break that down at all for.
I mean, I guess for the new players, the cool thing
Yeah.
about rogues that we could say real quick is like you get this move called sneak attack that just like gives you a ton of extra damage to people, and it's really fun to use, and you're really stealthy.
It's also fun to play.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
fun to be like,
play.
how can I hide in this situation so I can get the extra damage?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're kind
And
of
yeah,
thinking
it's
of
really
combat
it's
a
really
little
easy
different.
because I think Laura, you were saying this earlier, like how it's easy to learn how the different abilities that you're choosing while you're setting your character up, it's easy to learn how they affect stuff you're able to do in a game. For those of you who have never played before and are looking into playing a rogue for the first time,
It's a great starting
you're
character.
the great starting character.
Yeah.
Your dexterity is definitely going to be like your highest thing, I'd say. And then what's cool is you can basically like I forget exactly how many other ones um that you get like bonuses in or whatever, but you can really any combination of those will create like an interesting character, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point
And
because like I was just gonna say, creating a new character, I had no idea of like choosing stats that go with your class.
Right.
Like I didn't even think about that. So
well, and the other thing I was gonna say too for new players is like if you're like, well, rogues sound cool, but I want to use magic. There is a subclass called Arcane Trickster that allows you to use magic, so you can actually have like a little exposure to using magic stuff while still sneaking around and getting sneak attack and all that stuff too. So like don't feel like there's no magic involved or anything. And then like again, like in Tasha's book, you can be like a phantom and like go through walls and basically become a ghost. Or there's another one called Soul Knife where you like basically become like an aura person and you can like use your aura as like a sword like all the time or something. It's not as cool, but it's still kind of cool. And then there's stuff like swashbucklers and stuff like that too So there's definitely so many ways you can go with rogues. My rogue was a thief that wanted to become the greatest thief that ever lived, and then he drank himself to death, and then he came back to life with gills, and then he got ripped apart by a giant lobster in the sewer, and then he was put back together by a mad scientist goblin named Max, and now I have a metal eye with a ruby in it and a big metal arm that can shoot syringes to people. He has a lighter in his finger.
Like an Inspector
So the
Gadget.
most chaotic.
The most chaotic rogue you could think of. I have like pictures of him. Like I made him on Hero Forge, and like I have 3 versions of him, like what he was like after every time he died. And he started like I started the game as him, and like he looked like mom had just dressed him for school, and he was like all tucked in, like all his clothes were tucked in. He had like a nice tuxedo on and like a little backpack and like a nice belt and nice dress shoes and like socks that came up like halfway and like whatnot. And like his hair was combed nicely. And then he died and came back with gills. And like he didn't change a lot. His clothes got kind of like different, I guess. But then we did the Curse of Strahd, so we fought Strahd and did this whole like castle thing. And then after that, what happened in our campaign was once we beat Strahd, no spoilers, Strahd basically you're basically stuck in this like micro dimension of of Shadowfell in the Curse of Strahd. And so afterwards you're like free to leave it. But Evan, our DM, was like, well, if we're going to keep playing, what's like cooler? And so like when we beat him, like there's like this giant like shockwave or something, and we were free to go, but it also, we skipped like 1700 years into the future or something. And so like it was like super magic punked out and whatnot. And so like I went into town and like bought like a biker jacket, and like I had a cloak of dimension door, so I could dimension door like twice a day with this cloak on, and I turned it into like a bandana thing that would like cover my face. And then I was trying to find the whole game I was trying to find a surgeon that would cut all my teeth out and replace them with like metal shark teeth. But I never found that. Max said he would do it for me, but I never got around to it. But he was
Honestly,
gonna like
thank goodness.
yeah, and I had dark vision goggles, like these big dark vision goggles. So I'd like go up to people in this leather jacket and like bandana and dark vision goggles, and like my goal was to like just slowly like remove it, like smiling at people with like these shark teeth in my mouth. And people to just be like horrified and be like, oh my gosh, like we gotta listen to this guy or whatever. And then I got ripped apart again. And I got my metal arm and my eyeball and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna change my life.
So here's what I'm hearing. Joe's character got ripped apart.
Yep.
Josiah's character went blind.
Yeah,
My
I
character
forgot
was
about that.
undead.
Yeah, you're never gonna make a rogue that has nothing happen to them. They will
Yeah.
they will experience
DMs, like,
serious
pick on
trauma.
Yeah.
If they haven't already. Most of the time it happens in the backstory, but if it's not in the backstory, then it's gonna be in the game. Or both.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of true though. I feel like that's such a stereotype for the rogue class.
Yeah,
Kind of is. Well, and Alyssa's, you
for-
still don't even know what's going on with that
Right.
one either.
Well, for my rogue, the thing is, like, I lost my vision through something that I
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
the good
even
guy
your
in
fault.
that situation. It was our fighter who decided. So basically, uh,
Oh,
so
Brian.
basically, our we ended up at in Arborea, and we were passing through like a test or something. Is this when we encountered, was it Torm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we had to go through this test to like determine like our loyalty and like how brave we were. And then there was this part where we all got split off individually. We were being tested as a group mostly, but then there was a part where we each were taken aside separately and were simply asked to uh surrender the like physical possession we had that was most important to us. Um And for my character, I had at some point stated that these two adamantine daggers that Laura's character Flavia had given me actually were the most important to my character because it was like he'd never really gotten like gifts from people, so that
But
was
for
something
some
that
reason,
affected
you
him.
put all your
But for
weapons
some
out.
reason, in a moment
You're
of
like, everything.
unneeded,
Yeah, he was like,
dramatic
all my
nonsense,
weapons.
I was like,
And I was like,
because in the moment, I was like, my character just like has this affinity for just weapons. He just runs around collecting weapons throughout this campaign. So I was like, all my weapons are like more or less important to me. So my character lays all of his weapons down. Then when Brian's character is faced with the same test, he chooses not to give up his item.
this is what happened too.
He,
Brian
knowing it was a test, went, no, I'm still not going to give
Brian
up
walks
my
into the
item."
room and he sits down, and I like say the whole thing to him, like, you have to give up what you cherish most, or like someone else will pay the price. And he sits down and he goes, someone else definitely picked me to pick the price, right? And then he kind of looks at me, and I like didn't say anything because I didn't say like specifically that like someone could pick. And he's just like looking at me, and he like starts like laughing, and he's like, yeah, someone else picked it to pick me. And then he's like, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I was like, okay.
And so we all wake up.
It was
after
only
that,
him too.
and he was the only one who decided to not give up
I
his
was
item.
kind of surprised he fessed up to it. I was kind of hoping he didn't.
Yeah,
became like this whole
Everyone would have
would've
been like,
cooler.
like, who
Yeah.
did it? I
Yeah,
thought it would
exactly.
be cool. But he was like, they were like, did you not turn anything in? And he goes, no.
yeah, that was the
Just
funniest
straight
part.
up.
He was like,
He's like, no, I thought one of you guys were going to do it.
Yeah. So
and
basically,
Josiah's
we
like,
wake
my
up
character's
and
blind.
yeah, my character, in addition to not getting any of the items back that I laid on the table dramatically, I also lost my vision. And
Yep.
I somehow, fortunately, got Torm to pity me. enough
Somehow,
to-
what are you talking about? Joe pitied you for what happened with Brian. So I was like, I got to give him something. I felt terrible. I was like, God, I should have known that Brian was going to do this. Oh, well. But yeah,
Brian's
you
a
were
good
able to.
example of making chaotic decisions.
Yeah, making a
Brian was
character that's
making
supposed to
rogue
be the
decisions,
most
Chad, not a
lawful,
rogue.
good person.
I
Like, he was like, I am a hermit
Rogue
that
gave
lives
up
in.
everything.
He was like, I'm a hermit that lives in the hills by myself, and I study the law and my God's word. And then every waking turn was just the most chaotic decision that anyone would ever make, let alone someone who's supposed to be like a holy hermit man.
Yeah.
He's like, no, this is my sword.
To give you some idea, I think he is the only person in our group who has more or less gotten a character killed off by the DM.
Yeah, I killed his character. I needed to.
True.
Yeah, you weren't even there for that, Laura. But yeah, he
Yeah.
needed a wake up call.
I heard about
I
this.
was like, consequences for actions, and then just killed him. It was a great moment.
Yeah,
He was
it
not
it was
happy.
funny.
He was
It
like,
was-
why would
it
you do
was
that? I was like, Gus, you're being dumb. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, you just killed the big bad guy's mom, and you think she's not going to do anything? He was like, well, I don't know. He's like, why didn't you kill anyone else? And I was like, because none of them killed her or wanted to. He was like,
Yeah, we like ratted him out. Like he actually
Yeah,
didn't have to.
Alyssa
Like,
ratted him
we
out
called
hard.
Yeah.
Tasha brought Alyssa to like her like hall, to like her throne room, just Alyssa. And like I made everyone leave the table except Alyssa. And I was like, she was like, talk, like tell me what happened. And Alyssa was like, honestly, we don't even know this guy. She's like, you can take him out. Like, we don't even know who he is. And I was like,
Honestly,
okay.
so funny.
Anna says epic moment. Yeah, Anna was there for that.
Yeah.
Guys, look at the light on my face.
Yeah,
It
wow.
is so.
It's
Yeah.
golden hours.
I know.
Golden zebra hours.
So artsy.
Yeah, wow.
here.
All right, well, do we have anything else to talk about, Josiah? I know I already asked you that, but
I mean,
I'm good if you're good.
I'm
Cool.
Well, thanks for having me on, you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, Laura, for
course.
coming on, talking about rogues.
Yeah. Congratulations, you're our first guest.
Woo!
We'll have to have you on again once
big-
we talk about
big real
clerics in the future.
Podcast now.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about clerics.
Oh, we should
Yeah.
also do an episode on multi-classing, Josiah.
Oh yeah,
That's a
Oh,
good one.
yeah.
Alyssa multi-classed. We could talk to her about that.
Yeah, you
Unfortunately,
should.
she got like the worst of both worlds, kind of, but that's okay.
yeah.
Multi-classing a cleric and a ranger is not necessarily the
Yeah.
best combo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's okay. She was still cool. She had a cool sword,
yeah.
and she could fly, and she had a
Her character was pretty
horse
cool.
that was on fire. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, speaking of clerics, Laura, you said something earlier that I forgot to. What was it? Oh yeah, no, you were talking about your cleric right now. How you like pick spells every day,
Yes.
so you can like kind of be smart about it and think
Mhm.
about like what your group is doing next.
Mhm.
I just realized my character picked spells the same way, so that's
And you
something
haven't been doing that?
I haven't been doing that. Well, because I'm an
Nice.
artificer, so I'm so
Artificers are
like,
confusing.
yeah, but like right now I'm very much like, ooh, what can I build and what can't I build? Uh and I'm so worried about that sometimes that I forget to like worry about spell economy and
Yeah. I feel like an artificer is probably very confusing.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of moving parts. No pun
Nice.
intended.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
nice.
pun was intended.
We also have to figure out a little bit, like, I guess how much like scrap you have, because you'll
I
just
did wanna
randomly
talk to
be
you
like,
about that.
I grab this sheet metal and I throw it
Yeah.
at the, and I'm like, where did you get sheet metal? So we might need to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, at some point we're gonna I'm gonna come up with an actual inventory of what I have. So
Yeah,
that
that'd be great, because
I
then,
can-
because then also you could like, you were all of a sudden like overnight I created this dog, and it was like a full ass dog that worked and had armor that magnetically pulled back to
No,
the
no,
dog.
not overnight.
And now
I've been working
technically,
on it.
well, I know, but like kind of
Technically-
overnight, because you had the skeleton of it and it could blink,
Yeah.
and that was it. And then the next day it was done.
Well,
You're like,
technically-
hey guys, I've been working on this. Ba-ba!
Well, no, I worked on it overnight several times, like a couple times. And
Okay,
it leveled
well,
up
again, I'm
and
just getting
progressed.
back to, we need to know how
But-
much scrap material you have. Obviously,
well,
you get
the
that
idea
dog because you
is-
were level 3.
Yeah, so it's like for that, it kind of just
Happens, but
it's almost like a spell. Like
yeah, and I wasn't mad
appeared.
about it. I think
Yeah,
I thought it
so
was
I
great.
chose
I
to
just
build
think it's
from
kind of
slow.
funny
Yeah.
how you'll be like,
It's funny though.
I grab this piece of sheet metal and I cast stink on it and I throw it
Stinky
into
spring, yeah.
I take this spring and
Okay.
I throw it and I
threw a
stink it.
stinky spring at our
That was
rat.
hilarious though, because we were like, what does it do? Is
Yeah, I
it
was
like
like, all right,
stink cloud
cool.
Smell? You're like, no, it just
No,
smells bad.
it just smells.
You're like,
In
so
all
it does nothing.
Yeah, Laura had
In
just
all
used
honesty,
spiritual
I
weapon
thought it was
and like
stink
this floor spike move. And I was like, cool,
Yeah.
so do I need to roll something? And you were
Awesome.
like, no, I don't think so. I was like, okay, so do they just take damage? No, I think it just smells bad.
You're like,
And you threw it at
then the
rats
next encounter,
who
I
like
just,
like
like-
they're like they care.
Yeah. like between two encounters in the same session, I went from uselessly throwing a stinky spring to just like turning my crossbow into a plus
Yeah,
one
into a
natural weapon.
sniper, and everyone was like, why didn't you do that earlier?
I know. I
Uh,
needed that as Flavia, honestly.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that thing was cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, cool. Well, Laura, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Uh,
Pleasure.
yeah, everyone remember to like and subscribe to the podcast
Yes.
on everywhere, and watch us. It comes out every Wednesday, and then we stream every
Wednesday
Thursday.
or Friday. We'll see when they come out. You know,
Yeah,
we'll let you
sometimes
know.
I'm late. Sometimes I'm late, but that's
And
not my
okay.
fault.
That's just life, man.
Basically, check on a Thursday and don't stop checking, even
No,
if it gets
check on
to
a-
Friday.
Check on a Wednesday, and then
Check on
don't
a
stop
Wednesday.
checking till
then-
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 days, you guys.
Check on a Wednesday, and if it doesn't come out on Wednesday, then jump into the Twitch chat on Thursday and yell at me for not putting
Yes.
it out on
Yes.
Wednesday.
There
That's
you
what
go.
you should do.
Boost our engagement. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Marketer brain. You know, you got to
There
keep
you
them in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Got to keep them swirling around. All right. Cool. Peace, everybody.